let's start whatever type of vlog this is gonna be. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is going to be a vlog of some description. I was contemplating even making a vlog for the month of June, to be completely honest, because I'm not reading very much. So the first 10 days of June, it's now the 12th, it's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. I didn't read very much at all. I listened to 30% of the Bloodstone, so hopefully I'll get some more of that done in this. Really enjoying it, but I think I have to go back and re-listen to the last 10% because I don't think my brain was taking it in very much. And I also finished the Council of Athesia in the last few days, so I've started Help, My Dog is the Chosen One, which I will finish in this vlog. I've only got about 150 pages left, so we should get one, yes. And I also want to read the A Killer and a King by Tom Dumrell, because I am interviewing Tom Dumrell on release day, which is June 17th. So I really need to get a wriggle on with that and potentially have an alpha read for a friend of mine who's got a novella coming out hopefully later in the year, so I'll do that alpha read. In terms of other things that I might be reading, I don't know. I'm very much taking it as it is. I also didn't know whether I was going to talk about more health stuff, but you know, in the sake of transparency, I've told the people who watch these vlogs about the kidney stuff, so I will do that in just a minute when I change arms. So you can see I had a cannula in that arm, I've got a cannula in the arm holding up the camera. So it's been an interesting time since coming back from Sydney. But in this vlog, you can expect that story, which will happen in just a minute, dog stuff, food stuff, because we need to get back into the swing of things on the kidney diet. And yeah, hopefully some reading updates. It's very wet in Perth right now. Very, very wet. So not a lot of outdoors things are happening because it's just been miserable weather for like 2 weeks. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. No reading updates at the moment because I need to read something in order to give you a reading update. So I'll see you whenever that happens. The lighting in here is terrible, but we're just going to go with it. Is this thing on? Yes. I thought that I would tell you about my medical dramas whilst doing an unboxing video, because this came, and I think I know what it is. Like, I'm relatively sure it's the second book of whatever the Bone season is, because I ordered it ages ago, and that's the only thing I can think of from the Broken Binding that I haven't received yet, so we'll open that up and have a look at what that is in a minute. So, I'm cannulaed up. I spent 15 hours in the emergency department yesterday after having some heart or some chest pains for about 4 or 5 days. Backstory for anyone who doesn't know, I've got chronic kidney disease, and it's a relatively new diagnosis. Been trying to do all the right things, but these chest pains sort of came out of nowhere when I was in Sydney last week, and it got to day 4, and then I started having shortness of breath, and I was like, well, that's probably worth getting checked out. You know, we're very fortunate in Australia to have a public health system which doesn't charge you. You just have to wait ages to go and see people. So, you know, very fortunate, even if I'm waiting, you know, 6 hours plus to see a doctor, I still get to do that for free, you know, and that's nothing to sneeze at. So I called the health line yesterday after the shortness of breath. I also had a micro migraine. So I basically had a really sharp pain shoot through my right temple. I lost vision in the right eye, and then it was gone. It was here for a second, felt nauseous, all that stuff that comes with a migraine. It was there 1 second and gone the next, but because I'd lost vision in the eye, I was like, you know what, all this is a little bit weird for me. On top of CKD symptoms. So symptoms that I carry around daily are nausea, dizziness, and fatigue, like brain fog as well. So I didn't think anything of those things, but I was like, you know what, it's day 4 of chest pains, and the pain in my chest was like I could describe it as a pulse. So it basically, I mean, it's happening still. It hasn't stopped happening through the left pec, just above where the heart is. And it's like a little short, sharp pain that pulses outwards, like it sort of feels like it goes that way, and then it stops. And it happens sort of once every 30 to 40 minutes. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything conclusive at the hospital, but I was there and they did their due diligence and their duty of care. So, really thankful for that. But came home with not a lot of answers, but still concerned that it's happening. What they said, I've been fasting since like 8:30 yesterday morning, so I need to eat at some point soon and drink water for, again, CKD. You need to drink a lot of water to flush out your kidneys and help them, um, depending on what stage you're at. If you have it, please go see your doctor. Full disclosure, it depends on your levels and whatnot. Anyway, so we were there, did a couple of blood tests. They had to test if potentially there was a clot happening, but to do that, they need to do a CT where they put, no, a CAT scan, where they put dye into your body, and that dye is not great for your kidneys, so they needed to do a blood test to check if it was even a thing. Fortunately, it wasn't. My levels came back relatively normal. I had some high blood pressure. I was 162/80 at a spike. And then that came back to normal. And then we got discharged. So we were there from about midday, got discharged at about 3:30 this morning. So we don't know what's happening. Next steps for me are to monitor it, go back to a very strict kidney diet, because when I was in Sydney, it was hard to stay 100% on the diet, see if that has an effect on it and it goes away, because sometimes with chronic kidney disease, they were saying that like molecules can move around and fluid can build up if your diet's like not on point, which is some of the troubles that they do see with kidney patients. They also said that potentially if it doesn't go away after a few days of going back on that strict kidney diet, to go and get a 24-hour ECG monitor, like a Holter, which will monitor the heart's movements for a full day, just to see where they can catch those spikes. Because when we were trying to do ECGs last night, it wasn't doing it, and I would go back into the waiting room and it would do it. So there's that. Anyway, if anything comes of that, I will probably update later in the vlog, because this will go for about 10 days, so we'll go until the 22nd of June. But anyway, that's the medical update. Let's talk about Broken Binding book. I did not bring any implement to open this up, so it's going to be very noisy. Okay, we're back with the opening implement. It's going to be a very sad day when I go on to the below book buying year, which will probably be already started by the time you see this vlog, because no more Broken Binding packages. Great for my wallet. Not great for the Broken Binding. They'll probably survive. Yes, okay, so it is the Mind Water, which is the next book in that series. No one does packaging like the Broken Binding, do they? Just, I can't wrap presents this good. In fact, I'm not allowed to wrap presents. Rachel wraps the presents. It's not that I'm not allowed, it's that I'm not good at it. Rachel likes things to look nice. I want to rip it. Who's a ripper? Tell me in the comments down below. Who rips their pages like their packages, and who is sensible? I'm sensible. These books are just so dang beautiful. Check that out. I cannot. The light in here is terrible, so you're not going to be able to see the details in that. Those sprayed edges are just something else. We've got Naked, the gold foiling in there, and then edge papers. I love purple so much. Anyway, that was my health story and also some books. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday the 13th. I did actually finish a book last night, so I didn't think that I would do much reading yesterday because I was sleeping most of the day. I'm still not feeling great today, truth be told. My blood pressure is jumping up and down. Ari's obnoxiously using the doggy door, so sorry about the noise. So I'm like feeling weak, and I'm still not hungry, but having to force myself to put in sustenance to see if it is the diet that is causing the heart pain. So anyway, I thought we'd do a positive little update. I did finish Help, My Dog is the Chosen One by Ronit J, which I'll put up here. This was a fun little book. It comes in at about 277 pages, I think it was. I gave this one 3 stars overall, but it was fun, fast-paced, and it puts in a lot of heart and humor into the story. So this book follows Kunal, who is an anxiety-ridden resident of Mumbai who just likes to live at home and not go out because he's socially anxious, and all of a sudden his girlfriend turns up with a dog who has to save the world. And then this sort of insane plot opens up, and it's all about Kunal and this dog and other animal creatures who are embodiments of gods and people needing to save the day. But there's a lot of hidden messages in it, and by hidden I don't mean they're hard to figure out. It's just that there's more to this story than this young man and also this dog saving the world. There's a lot of cultural references to things that I think they're obviously quite close to the author's heart in terms of ways that he was brought up that maybe he doesn't necessarily agree with, and that comes through in the character, and just sort of exploring it. Felt almost like a therapy session, but in a good way, and we're exploring and questioning some things that maybe have happened all of this character's life. So I'll use the character as the example here, that may not be the best thing for every single person. And there's a lot of those references in there, obviously a lot of love for the culture as well, and I thought that was really fun, and also just overcoming mental struggles. So if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced book which goes into depth with if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced book which does deal with some of those mental struggles, particularly anxiety, and sort of how to overcome that, and not even overcome it, but putting other people or other things in front of yourself and using that as a tool to help to manage those anxieties was really fun. I had a good time with that. So what I do have here is a little book haul. So I recently went to Sydney. I'm about to start the Low by Year. I think I've already mentioned that in the last clip. But I went to Sydney and I saw my good friend Mark. I'll put a photo of us up here. We finally got a photo together. Most people saw this one over on Twitter. But I did go book shopping and ended up buying 5 books while I was there. And a lot of these are sequels or just authors that I am very interested in reading, and having a Low by Year means not buying books, which means reading what's on my shelves, so just making sure I'm geared up for that. The first one I bought was Judas Unchained. This is by Peter F. Hamilton. This is the follow-up to Pandora's Star. So just wanted to make sure I had both of them. I have been told to do these on audio. Hard sci-fi does tend to work better for me on audio than in physical, but I also want to have the physical books to get more into, I guess, immersion reading, or doing part audio, part physical, and having that copy. And I had the first one, so rude not to. This one, I walked past about 4 times, and every time I walk past it, Samantha Shannon does come to Australia quite a lot, and she'll go into bookstores and sign it. So every time I walk past it, Mark was like, oh, it's signed by the author, you should get it. I have picked up this book about 427 times this year and not bought it because I have Priory of the Orange Tree and I haven't read it, so I was going to wait to read that one and buy this one, and I didn't do that. But it is signed by the author, so I ended up going back and buying it. Thank you, Mark, for fueling the unhealthy addiction that I have. And then I've been seeing this one around, and again, my prejudice against spending lots of money on hardback novellas, but I love Eric LaRocca. I think I've said that many, many times this year. So this is Everything the Darkness Eats. I believe this is just one story, maybe the first short novel that Eric LaRocca put out. So I'm very much interested into reading this at some point. I've been on a bit of a horror kick this year, and by horror kick I mean just reading more than I normally would. So I love Eric's writing, so whenever I am reading one of their stories, I am fully captivated in what's happening, so I picked that one up. This one I actually bought at the airport, and I picked it up when I was going through the bookstores, and then I ended up buying it on the way home, and this is The Wager. This is by David Gran, and this is a true story, or based on a true story, of a mutiny that happened on a ship. I don't know much more than that, but I do know people have really enjoyed it, and I don't often pick up non-fiction, but when I pick up non-fiction, I want it to read like fiction. But I am still very interested in true stories that have happened, and we're on a boat, and that's scary. So I think that's going to be a really enjoyable read. And the last one I picked up was Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I think this may be the Brandon Sanderson book that I like the most, just hearing people who talk about it saying that it's one of their least favorites, but for me, I think it's going to really work. So I now have the 2 standalones. I have Wallbreaker, I think it's called, on the shelf back there, and now I have Elantris. So I have read Mistborn, Era 1, and I will go on to read Warbreaker as the next one in the Cosmere, and then I'll go on to Stormlight Archive, and I have Elantris when I get to that. So those are the books I bought in Sydney. I'm now going on to read A Killer and a King by Tom Dumrell. Hopefully get that done before our chat on Monday. So I'll see you when I have another reading update. Bye. I've been thinking about something for a while, and I'm going to ask advice from the 3 people who watch these vlogs. I'm thinking of adding a stream into my YouTube repertoire, something that is not necessarily a reading sprint or a writing sprint, which I still need to get back to doing more regularly, but a gaming stream just on the channel. I'm not looking to rebrand or do anything crazy like that, but a place on a Sunday most likely for an hour or two where people can come and just watch something dumb, cozy, pixel art, because what I don't like in books in terms of that cozy, or what I don't tend to gravitate towards in books with that cozy sort of theme, is what I really enjoy in video games, and just a place to come and hang out and have chats. I'm thinking of trialing it. I'm looking at software at the moment and seeing what I can do. Rachel has wanted to stream for a long time, and she's actually looking at getting into it and doing it as a hobby and for fun. I'm just looking to add it into what I've got going on, which is pretty much someone who doesn't chase the algorithm. I'm not looking at chasing a different kind of algorithm or anything like that, but just something that is another hobby that I have that I can share with people, and maybe, I don't know, find some more friends along the way for different types of content. But if you think it's completely dumb, let me know. If I put one out there and you think it's completely dumb, let me know and be like, hey Chris, just stick to books. And I normally do. Other than that, I'm about to cook dinner, which is cupboard/fridge surprise. It's basically any vegetable we have in the house that hasn't been used to try and use it so we don't have to throw anything away. Just being more conscious of the food intake and what we're using and what we're throwing away, and trying not to do that anymore, and just using what we have in the house. So I think there's a bunch of stuff that can be used here. I'm feeling a little bit better now. So it is now Thursday night, so Thursday the 13th PM. So I did my last update in the morning where I talked about Help, my dog is a chosen one, and I've had a full day of eating. Again, I'm not hungry, but making sure I'm eating 3 meals a day and drinking my water is making me feel a little bit better. Chest pains are still there, but they said that if it is food related, it'll take a couple of days to sort itself out. So we'll see what's going on in that space. So I started A Killer and a King by Tom Dumrell. I'll put the cover up here. You know what, let's put the hardcover, the broken binding one, up here just for something different, because there are 2 covers currently out. And I've read about 50 pages, so it's about 270 pages, I want to say, and I've read about 50 of them. Tom Dumrell's style is very quick, very witty on the prose. It sucks you in very quickly. Quite character heavy. Like, I already don't like someone and I already like someone with the same passion. So, very, very easy to read. It doesn't read like a fantasy to me at all. Very much sort of historical fiction. Now, I have heard this one described as a love letter to Agatha Christie, so I'm waiting for that murder mystery element to pop in here. And Agatha Christie, in my opinion, is a lot of fun with those books, so I'm hoping to enjoy this one quite a bit. When I play around with all the streaming stuff tonight, I may get a chance to read some more of that. And I got 50% into The Bloodstones by Tori Tekken. Now, this morning when I was listening to it, I was at about 30%, and I was wondering whether I needed to start again in case I hadn't taken anything in over the last couple of days, but it's clicking more and more as we go through. I just want to say at the 50% mark, this story reads really well, and this is not a compliment I tend to give out. So while the story is enjoyable, the flow and the rhythm of this book is excellent. Every sentence feels like it's intentional. I'm constantly carried away with just how smooth the flow of the writing is. And I think that just comes from having an editor as a wife, is something that she looks for, that now I've learned to also look for in books and in writing. No one expect that in my first book. Just don't. But it's so pleasant to listen to, and Andrew D. Meredith's narration is just so good. first time I've listened to him, and very, very impressed with the story so far. But it is dark. It is darker than I anticipated. Anyway, that was just a little rambly thing. If you want to help me out with the stream thing, whether I'm dumb or not, then let me know, and I'll catch you in the next update. What is my hair doing? Hello everyone, good morning. It is Friday the 14th. I have read about a third of A Killer and a King. I've just chatted to Tom Dumrell this morning, organising the live, which will be happening on Monday, which will be good. This book is very short, sharp, witty. I think I've already said that when I sort of talked about it before. I'm enjoying it a lot. Very, very easy to read. So I'm hoping to, I'm at 110, page 110 now. I'm hoping to knock it out before the end of tomorrow. So I'll give you an update on like my overall thoughts tomorrow when I finish it. But I thought I would jump in because I've had a couple of DMs and a couple of comments on the videos about liking the food content and exploring the kidney diet and things like that. And next week, it's very sudden. I look like a mushroom. That's fine. This is bed hair and I haven't washed it yet this morning. Oh look. The heater is on directly above that seat. So that's where she is. It is winter in Australia at the moment. Anyway, I digress. I thought I would give you the menu that I'm having next week. So I do like to cook. I'm in a fortunate position where cooking is my other, I guess, hobby. I enjoy it. I enjoy coming home and cooking a meal. It relaxes me. Maybe it's just because I'm a Virgo or I like routine and methods and whatnot. So following a recipe is very therapeutic to me, but I also need to be careful with my food. But I just wanted to come on and like showcase that having a disease which requires a fairly restrictive diet doesn't have to be boring. So I tend to do my menu. I'll go through and look for recipes each week, and then I'll order the groceries on Saturday to be picked up on Sunday, which is my day off. So for Monday, I've got a garlic chili crisp spaghetti, which is basically using a crispy chili oil to flavor the pasta and using a protein pasta to get that protein in rather than using any sort of meat sauce. The protein pastas will normally be packed full of soy, or they'll use, like, you can use edamame pasta, you can use actual soy-based pasta. It doesn't matter, but protein pasta exists out there. Just, I don't know, check your additives if you're sensitive to some of the additives that come in. Tuesday, I'm going to be making tofu lemongrass meatballs, and which will go with some rice and broccolini. It's just a whole bunch of herbs, mainly lemongrass, just a whole tube of lemongrass paste goes into those to flavor them, and swapping out coconut aminos for soy sauce. So I don't tend to use soy sauce. It's way too high in salt for the kidney diet, but coconut aminos are much gentler on that organ. Wednesday, I've got chicken fried rice. So there is a company or a brand called Corn here, Quorn. I can spell. I haven't had the coffee yet. It's very early. And they do like chicken style pieces, and again, it's just tofu and soy, but the texture of it gives you that texture that you would get in something like chicken. So I tend to use that brand and swap that brand. It's also low in sodium, which is great for me. On Thursday, I'm going to try something new, which is a tofu ragu. Now, this is not a way that I've prepared tofu before, which is why I've done it on a day that I work from home. And this is where you actually grate the firm tofu and you cook it in the oven first. So you flavor it and you cook it in the oven to bake those flavors into the tofu and then use it as your meat substance. You don't have meat in everything, but a lot of people sort of advertise it that way. So I'm looking forward to that one. It is also the most intimidating recipe that I have on here because of all the steps. On Friday, Corn again does chicken nuggets. Rachel likes chicken nuggets and they're very, very passable. So we're going to have our fake chicken nuggets with, I'm going to make some homemade fries and some veggies because you need to get your greens in. Don't just eat meat and potatoes, everyone. And then Saturday, I've got a honey mustard something. Honey mustard, something that's in the house. For honey, you can substitute things like golden syrup. In Australia, we have a plethora of substitutes for honey. So you can use like date syrup, you can use rice malt syrup. It doesn't matter. So honey, you just swap it out with another sort of sweet, syrupy goodness, I guess. Or if you're not vegan and not vegetarian, you can go ahead and use honey, and then I'll put whatever that is. I haven't figured that out yet on some mash and veg. So that is my menu update for next week. I will probably show the tofu ragu just in case I fall on my ass and it fails. In terms of reading, like I said, I want to get a killer and a king done by tomorrow, because I would really like to start. I want to finish an alpha read for Ricky Smith, which is only a novella. It's about 18,000 words. I want to get that done on Sunday, and then I want to start Orphan Planet or The Forbidden Planet, The Forsaken Planet. I'll put it up there. I think it's The Forsaken Planet by Brian Wilson, because I've been meaning to get to it forever, and that is the next book off the rank here. So I'm going to have my blueberry oats with my date syrup on the top, my coffee, and then I'm going to log into work. I am feeling better today. Again, the chest is still doing the thing, but it's only been a full day of eating normally. I'm actually hungry this morning, which is great after a couple of days of not being hungry. But we'll see how the day goes. All right, catch you in the next update. Bye. I just woke up from a nap. I'm not sure what year it is, but suddenly it's grey outside and it's raining. Anyway, it's Sunday afternoon, about 4 o'clock. I don't think I did an update yesterday, but I have finished A Killer and a King for Tom Dumrell. I've also written the questions for the live tomorrow, which is great. Really like it. If you like Agatha Christie, it's just a cheeky whodunit, which is very snappy, very witty. It moves quite quickly. You push through the book. No one's very likable. And there was a twist at the end. So Tom Dumrell, I trust to put in a good twist or two in his books, and I'm looking forward to chatting to him tomorrow. So I finished that one up. Earlier today, before I went and had a nap, I also alpha read In His Winter by Ricky Smith. It's an alpha read, a novella. It's about 18 to 19,000 words, I think it was. So it was about 42 pages, and I did that alpha read today. I'm about to send off my notes to that. I wanted to sleep on it, not literally, that just happened. Anyway, and then rethink about it before I sent my notes across. When I beta and when I alpha, as I finish, I will make notes during it, and then as I finish, I'll just leave it for a little bit, let my brain settle. Do I want to add anything else in there? Do I want to take anything out? Things like that before I send off the report. So that's about to go through. I ended up picking up a mood read, which I was not expecting to, but I have been looking at this book for months on my shelf, if not close to a year, and that is Isa by L.L. McRae. It's been on I read about 100 pages yesterday. It's been on my TBR for a very long time. I really liked the first 3 books. I loved Amara, which was the last book, and I just didn't pick up book 4 because I was waiting for the announcements of the last 2, so book 5 and 6, which may be coming our way either late this year or early next year. And I think what L.L. McRae is currently looking at doing is either just releasing it as one 5th and final book or releasing the 2 books at the same time. But anyway, I picked that up. Blitzed through 100 pages, very comforting. Like I just sucked straight back into the world. Also, bless the authors out there that put like a story so far in the front of it. This one has it. So I got to experience that and get caught up before I started book 4, which was fantastic. I think I read Amara over a year ago now. It's been a long time since I read book 3, but straight back into the world, which was great. I also started The Forsaken Planet by Brian Wilson, so I figured out the name of the author. I'll put that one up here. I'm only a few chapters in. Now my brain is very fuzzy right now. I'm still not feeling super well. I have a doctor's appointment next week, but that'll be after this vlog. You know what I'm talking about, to get some results from the hospital and also potentially have to wear that halter. So you won't see that. If you're interested, happy to answer questions over on the DMs. So I have started that. Bless Brian Wilson for having short chapters. 10-minute chapters, fantastic. I can read one and fall asleep and still have that completionist thing ticked off. I don't know if the chapters get longer. I've only read the first couple, but very intriguing so far. We've had some sort of contact in New York, about an hour out of New York. We're in like the suburbs, and a Colton, I think his name is, has gone with his friends, and his street where he lives gets bombed and he sees it, and then he's sort of the aftermath of that. So I can't remember the blurb of The Forsaken Planet, so I won't give too much more away. That happens in the first couple of chapters, so no spoilers there, but I'm looking forward to reading more of that. And that is the reading update. I'm now going to have a cup of tea and go and finish up the alpha read notes and send that off. Hello everyone, it is Monday the 17th. It is author interview day with Tom Dumrell. I have not done an author interview in a hot minute. I have not been able to write a good review in months. I have really shied away from lives on my channel, even though I've done a couple. Like, thank you to Luke and Taylor who came on to talk about Anne McCaffrey's books, and I went on the World Hoppers one to talk about indie books, and I've had one Queer Corner episode on my channel. They feel like insurmountable tasks right now. I don't know, I've lost my mojo. I think now that my brain is going through it and processing everything that happened last year, the stuff with Epic Indie happened right before Christmas, which happened right before we moved to Perth. And then since coming to Perth, it's been a whirlwind. And of trying to find a house, of not having a house, of buying a house, of the other house doing things, of getting diagnosed with kidney stuff, and now my heart and the hospital. It's all been a lot. So I think I'm finally now starting to process what happened with that blog at the end of last year. And like, I'm not blameless. Made my bed. I chose to be in a blog which didn't fit with my views, hoping that the person who owned it and myself could set aside differences. And it just got to a point where it was no longer a safe space for me or the LGBTQIA plus community, or that's what it felt like. And I had to leave, and then that blew up, and that person reacted in ways that my past relationship acted, and that was a mentally abusive relationship, which I did not process for a very long time. And I think now that I'm processing that, it's making more sense why my ability to write a decent review has gone out the window, but I would like to get back to it. So I have an author interview this afternoon. It's the first one I'm having this year. From that, I've asked another couple of authors if they would like to come onto the channel to be interviewed at some point. So hopefully they'll be back as a once per month thing, and I'm hoping it works as a bit of a kick up the bum to be able to do that. Also, just a quick shout out to Rachel. I won't go too far into it, but I've had a really bad mental week this week with everything that's going on, and honestly, find yourself a partner who can just pick you up when you are down. Doesn't even have to be a romantic partner. Platonic life partners are just as important. Best friends, whatever you want to call them. Someone who knows you and knows what you need in that time are so instrumental to being able to get yourself out of a funk. Rachel washed my hair for me yesterday because I just couldn't do the task myself. And knowing that it needed to be done, and also being like, let's get in the shower, stinky, I'm gonna wash your hair, was just, I don't know, it makes a world of difference. Even though it's funny now, it wasn't at the time. Anyway, this is also a reading and writing update. So writing update, I've started, wishful thinking. I've started the last chapter of my work in progress. I should have that done by the end of this week, which means I just have the epilogue to go and I can start doing a self-edit. The aim for me, I don't write super... Consistently is not the right word. I do write consistently, but I don't write every day. So I write 3 to 4 days a week in half-an-hour sprints. That half-an-hour sprint usually gets me anywhere between 300 and 800 words. So the aim is to finish the last chapter this week, and then the epilogue next week, and then go into self-edits, and then send it off to my 2 alpha readers, which are already in the works. Once that's done, it will come back to me. I'll give them 4 to 6 weeks to do it. I'll make the changes, and then it will go off to the dev editor, who I've booked for mid to late October, hoping to get this out mid next year. But yeah, the end is in sight. I can see the end of this work in progress. Reading updates, I don't have anything new to add. I'm just going to say that I am pulling back on the Bloodstones by Tori Tech, and I'm actually going to stop it, and not for now at this current point. Nothing to do with the book. The book is excellent. The narration is excellent. My audio retention right now is absolute trash. So audio is not my natural go-to, and when I am not feeling the best in my head, it is usually the first thing that just goes. The concentration is not there. So even though it's not for now, it's still going to happen this month. It may not just happen in this vlog. My current plans are to stop listening to it and just go to music or podcasts or whatever, something that's a bit easier for my brain. And once I finish Issa by L.L. McRae and The Forsaken Planet by Brian Wilson, I will pick up the Bloodstones and maybe have that be my last read for the month. I've also pulled back, if anyone looks at my Goodreads, you'll know, but I've also pulled back my goal for the year. I did want to get 100 books read this year. It's not going to happen. I'm also mood reading again, which is just a sign that I need to let go of some of that control. So I pulled it back to 80. So those are the few updates in this little clip. I'm going to go have breakfast and a coffee and see if I can film a video or two, because I just didn't yesterday. And one was due today, and it's not happening. But hopefully I can get them filmed today. Thoughts and prayers would be appreciated. Okay, bye. Hello, it is Tuesday night. It's about 8:30, 8:45, 9, whatever. And reading is just not happening today. So I think in my last clip I mentioned that I had, not for now, The Bloodstones by Tori Tekken, read by Andrew DeMeredith. That's nothing the book's fault. I'm just not retaining anything. I got to 50%. It was great. I started listening to it from there, and I've just retained nothing. So I will go back to that physically, because apparently my brain is just not doing audio this very second, or not epic dark fantasy on audio anyway. I have started to try, I think it's All the Hidden Things by Foz Meadows. It's the second one in the series that I started last month, The Strange and Stubborn Endurance. I'll put it up there. I've only listened to about an hour of it, and so far that's sticking more, because it's very much just about the characters and the romance, and there is loose plot ahead, but it's really not too much about that, at least not yet, so we'll see how we go there. Before the low by year started, I got a couple of clothes items, and it's just funny to me what my style has become, which is essentially comfortable grandpa. Let me show you in a mirror. This is actually ridiculous. I'm 32. It's very dark down here. Ready? I'm gonna turn this camera around. We are going for oversized grandpa chic. What a fit. Good to know the second outfit isn't any less grandpa, but it is telling me how short I am. Anyway, that's the clothes I got. Hey, Ari. I fed her breakfast. I'm dead to her now. Hello, everyone. It is Friday the 21st. It's about 7:40 in the morning. Walked Ari, been to the gym, doing very light weights. Not exacerbating anything on my chest, because I do have a doctor appointment follow-up this morning about all that stuff that went down last week. I thought I wasn't going to be in the vlog, but I was wrong, because I started the vlog late. So it will be. I'll give you an update after that. Hopefully it's all fine. I'm going to go and officially get all the results from the hospital, as well as tell him that my chest is still doing the stuff, and see whether I need to get more bloods done or go and do the halter top thingy or whatever. I'll just see. It is a lot less now, so maybe it was the food thing. I don't know. I don't know medicine, so that's why we're going to a professional. Yeah, reading update. insert cricket noise here. I haven't done a lot of reading this week. My brain has just not been in it. So I started All the Hidden Paths, is the correct name for that book by Foz Meadows. I've listened to about 2 hours of it. It's fine, like it's good. My brain is actually retaining the information. I remember where I am. I'm just not interested in doing it. Not because of the book, just because I am not interested in listening to an audiobook. So it's music this week. And reading, I have read up to 50% of Issa by L.L. McRae. Really fun to be back in the world of Lunaria, really enjoying it. It feels like coming home to me. I think that series is always going to be a comfort series. I think I've said that already in this vlog. I can't say too much about it because it's very spoilery. It's all follow-ons from things that have happened in the first 3 books. But I really like Amara as a character. She's probably one of my favorite characters or female protagonists that I've come across since, you know, delving back into fantasy. She's such a fun sky pirate with, you know, heart of gold, even though she likes money. So that's been really nice to be back in that world. I am probably 25% into The Forsaken Planet by Brian Wilson. Very different in tone from Issa, which it's a sci-fantasy, and it's sort of giving me like Tomorrow When the War Began vibes, or The Invisible Tether by J.P. McDonald, which I read I think last year. Similar sort of vibes there. Got a young group of people, something's happened to this street, there's been an invasion of some kind, and there's 2 different sort of factions. So one is the Heart of the Flame or something, I can't remember exactly what it is, who are the bad guys, and then they've got this other group who they've now like gone and joined. So I'm guessing there's going to be like that military aspect to this sci-fantasy, but I'm not so far into it. Very enjoyable to read. I'm just not feeling reading right now. What I will say is that I finished the last chapter of my first draft of my work in progress. So I'm at 80,000 words, or just over 80,000 words. The last chapter has been done, which means I just need to write the epilogue, and I'm going to push for that by Sunday. So I might extend the vlog by 1 day to see if I can finish the draft in the vlog, because that would be, I don't know how long I've been writing this for. It's definitely since last year, so probably about 12 months now, has been writing the first draft. I mean, this story's been in my head since I started transitioning. I don't know if the draft is good. I'll have to go back and reread it. I think it's objectively awful, but I think everyone says that about their own writing, right? So I'll hopefully finish that, and I'll give you an update on whatever happens over the next couple of days. So the next update will very likely be tomorrow afternoon. We do have a busy Sunday, but I'm hoping our stuff on Sunday doesn't start until about lunchtime. I'm going to go see Ryan and talk podcast ideas, maybe start reading the Southern Reach trilogy. I don't know. The one by Jeff Vandermeer that everyone says weird. I have a bind up after seeing Ryan's bind up, which is beautiful, and I was like, I need that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'll give you an update on whatever does. Now I'm going to make breakfast for Rachel and I, and then have coffee, go to the doctor, and then log into work. I'll see you when I see you. All right, I gotta end this vlog because we have guests coming over in like a matter of minutes. The table is set, the fire is on, the fake fire. We're ready to go. I need to start cooking so that when they get here, I can sit and wait and just let things do their thing. So, update, it is actually the 22nd, which is the day I should be finishing the vlog, and I'm finishing it on that day. I have no idea what that noise was from my throat. I didn't read a whole lot more. I got to 35% of, they're clean dishes, I gotta put them away. I got to 35% of The Forsaken Planet, I got to 50% of Issa, and I don't know, maybe 10% of All the Hidden Paths by Foz Meadows. I didn't read a whole hell of a lot, but this morning it was raining, so I couldn't walk the dog, and my muscles were sore, and because of the chest thing, I just need to not push it at the gym, so I didn't go to the gym. I finished the first draft of my work in progress. It is now done. I have a completed first draft at just over 81,000 words. Tomorrow we're out all day, hanging out with Ryan, doing podcast things. On Monday, I will sit and I'll put down the plot beats that I want to hit. Just made some notes from this book for the second book, just so I make sure that they're down and they're ready to go. And then I'll start editing and hopefully have this off to alpha readers in the next sort of 4 weeks. I'm trying to give myself 4 weeks for my edits, adding in the scenes, tidying things up, and then sending it off to align with the dev editor's timeline and what I've asked to be done there with mid-October. So we'll see. But yeah, very exciting. It's a cool feeling to have finished a project. So I've never finished a project before. So regardless of whether it sees the light of day, I actually finished a work in progress. It is a cool feeling. Anyway, I need to go cut some potatoes and eat some humble pie, I guess, for our guests. But I will check you in the next vlog. If you like the content, give me one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will. And hopefully next time I'll read more books. But I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.